Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everybody around the world. Welcome back to another video featuring Nami. Coming at you guys with a very, very spicy deck profile featuring OP11 here on the channel, let alone a leader in which I'm having a lot of fun with, and it's very difficult to want to play anything else. Now, with that being said, today we're going to be playing against a very, very strong deck here in the current OP11 format. At the locals down here at Gaming Giant in Fairfax, we will be playing against a blue-purple Luffy, which I have, I don't want to say crafted a win con versus this deck, but I have created a deck, not this one particularly, but a deck that can go up against this and do a lot better than what we do today. Unfortunately, like, this deck list here doesn't do the best into this particular Luffy. And I've learned that over time, not only from this matchup, but from playing Nami into Luffy on Sim. I spent, I don't remember how many days it was, smashing my head against the wall, not literally, but figuratively, trying to figure out how to win this matchup. And you guys will see what deck I have cooked up in the upcoming Nami video here on the channel. But without further ado, we are going to dive into the matchup today with this particular list, and let's see what we got going on here. I'll see you guys in a split second. Let's go. As Nami playing into Blue Purple Luffy, you understand what I meant. In any case, this matchup is very, very difficult all around. At least how I built this deck here particularly, I built this to deal with purple green Luffy and purple black Luffy. I'm running a full play set of Sables, or Sables, depending on how you want to say it. It's the bounce back, a 7 cost, which is really, really good. It allows you to remove the problematic characters like Sanji Pudding and the new SR Luffy that we got in the structure deck for purple black Luffy. The downside to it, going into Snakeman here, it's very hard to utilize Sables, depending on how you want to say it, in this matchup, due to the fact that Luffy doesn't really play a whole lot of bodies on board. He typically ramps up, then plays big body after big body, which consists of things like Sanji and Big Mom on top of the 8-cost Katakuri. And then some lists also run the 8-cost Luffy. But what I have learned in this matchup, and just like playing into Luffy here on the sim, not only this game particularly, but every single matchup into this leader, you have to be swinging 6k, no matter what. 6, 7 if you guys want to go 7, but 7 seems a little redundant because you have to just go 6, and generally speaking they pitch a 2k anyhow, so going 7 is a little silly. You must be swinging 6 each and every turn. Let me get the Soul Focus here. This game here drew a whole audience with the amount of times that we healed this match was kind of crazy. Against any other leader but Luffy here, it would have been detrimental, just because we would be able to fend off board. But Luffy, in the nature of the deck, it's a little bit harder to do so when he has, Sanji and Lin on board multiple times. It's very hard for us to get around that. We only have so many red rocks, and you don't typically draw your red rocks every single matchup. So, and when you do, he just plays double bodies the following turn. It's very tricky. But I have learned there are certain key cards that you have to see, especially with my list here. I have to run into Katakuri, the 5-drop, and or if you're running Teach, you have to see the Teach, because a lot of your bodies here on the board, when you play on curve, you gotta have that Dawn attached to Nami, because you cannot pass without swinging into Luffy. You need to get cards out of hand as quickly as possible, and he does have ways to draw more, whether it's going to be with Nami here, which you get to draw 3 and then you go ahead and put 2 on top or bottom, which it's ideal for him because it allows him to filter out and then get big bodies and or removal if need be. He does put them on top, which is okay, but we do have answers to the 5-cost blockers. The other blocker that he has access to that you typically see in this matchup is going to be the 6-cost Sanji and then the 8-cost Katakuri. I think ideally that's about it, right? Unless I'm missing something. So thankfully we do get the Nojiko here, and we can remove that, and we did draw into the Pudding. And he does have 8 cards in hand. So I think now is probably the best time to go ahead and drop the Sanji. Or sorry, drop the Pudding on board to shuffle him back, right? This is what I'm thinking. But in hindsight, this probably was a terrible idea, because in the beginning of the game, he ended up activating second gear to ramp up. And like he mentioned, if you're playing Luffy and you have to forcefully use the event to ramp, you're typically not in a good spot most of the time. Sometimes it's cool to draw it and ramp up early, but a lot of the times you don't ideally want to do that. And unfortunately, me playing Pudding here, he was ecstatic. He was very happy about it because we gave him a much better hand than he already had. Again, we played Pudding down when he had 8 cards. Okay, that's a lot of cards. We got the -3 from hand, so that's awesome. But we gave him a much better hand for probably the rest of this game. And obviously, I don't know that at the time. I see 8 cards. Pudding seems pretty good. Let's do it, you know? And then our first swing, in which he decides to take life, equals another ramp. So now Luffy starts the turn already on 8 Dawn here, so he can activate his leader skill. Which is very unfortunate for me, because we are still not on the turn where we can drop a big body down, and now he is, so. Because he does have access to 8-cost Katakuri and a bunch of other big bodies that he can utilize here for 8 Dawn, so. And our Katakuri in this matchup is not the greatest. Like I said, this build particularly is not teched to deal with Snakeman Luffy. So I have changed this deck list up entirely to deal with all 3 of them. Not necessarily win every single game. I still think this matchup here is like 50-50. The other matchups are definitely a little harder if you don't have removal for on spot for the Sanji P and the SR Luffy. If you can't clear those, it makes it very, very difficult. This matchup, I feel like you can typically win if you see the correct cards. And I think changing my deck list for the better after this video here really helps me into this matchup going forward. Because now we have nothing really in hand here that's really going to help us out outside of the Zeus. We do have to pitch it, because I don't want to go ahead and go down to 3 life just yet. There's Luffy, so he's trashing that. He's going to heal my Katakuri. And this is kind of where things kind of fall apart a bit. Because the Big Mom hits everything in the deck outside of your Kid and your 7-drop Mom. At least for me, right? So he can remove anything he wants to at will, typically. And as long as he has Red Rock for Eustace Kid or Pudding for Eustace Kid, he should be pretty good. Because he knows it's coming up, so he does have an option of playing Pudding, right? And speaking of which, I made another mistake here by playing down the Red Rock. Normally, I save Red Rock for Katakuri, and that's typically the only time I use it here in this matchup, but he's already on 9 Dawn, and he does have access to, you know, cycle the top 5. And whether or not he has a Sanji here, not that Sanji, but the blue Sanji, we could be in a very, very bad spot, because Sanji can come down, he can kick down Katakuri, he can kick down another Big Mom, then he has 2 bodies on board. We've already Red Rocked, we've already used up our turn, and we didn't play a blocker down. So, he's going to clear our board here, be able to deal damage, which is unfortunate. There's the Sanji. So here comes the Mom. And then he can choose to heal us again if he wants to. And he's going to do that. So now we have no board. We get another Nojiko, unfortunately. This probably wasn't the best use of my Dawn here. I just wanted to go ahead and hardcast another Soul Focus, see what he wants to do. I need to sustain myself into the late game some way, shape, or form. We don't have any other big bodies on board that's going to allow us to do that. We have the 8-cost Katakuri, but he can't really bounce anything. So, wastefully, I can play down Nojiko and then play down Katakuri, put Nojiko on top of life, but I don't have the Dawn to attach to the Nami there. We get another Soul Focus, which is kind of nice. This way, we can at least play a blocker down, do Katakuri blocker as well. Or sorry, play the Katakuri blocker down and attach the Dawn to Nami. This way, we can swing for 6 instead of playing the 8-cost. We're able to deal damage, draw a card, which kind of benefits us. We get another blocker as well. But now the board kind of becomes a little bit out of hand, because now we can't really deal with this. We've already used 1 Red Rock. 8-cost Cat is not doing much. Kid's in life. He's going to heal me again. Yep. There's a 7 Mom. These 7 Moms are going to be a saving grace here in this matchup. Because I've noticed most Snakemen... Ooh. I'm going to go ahead and play the audio here so you guys know what happened in this situation.
Oh, I played it wrong. Wait, I didn't draw for turn.
I have no idea, to be honest. I'll believe you, but...
Okay, I didn't draw for turn. That's what it is. Sorry. And then... There.
All right.
Sorry. I didn't draw for turn. I mean, you can always see.
Nah, that's cool. I'm cool.
I don't think I drew for turn there. I mean, okay, you tell me how you want to do it, because I don't think I drew for turn, but because I made a mistake, I don't want to do that, though.
You don't, because you made a mistake, you don't want to do that?
Yeah, okay. It's up to you. Like, if you, because I don't think I drew for turn, because I had placed it so to play that off of this. But if you want to play it in a way where, like that, then we can just set up differently.
So, I'm cool with it, but how do you feel? What do you want to do? I'll let you make the decision.
Okay, I'm going to put it back.
Okay.
Okay, so he decides to choose Sanji's 6-cost blocker here as the draw. Because he did forget the draw during this turn. He did use the leader skill, but he forgot to draw a card for his turn, unfortunately. Because he got the Sanji 6-cost off of the leader skill, then he forgot to draw for his turn. If that makes sense to you guys. Which is unfortunate. And we know this, we already talked about it. This is why he decided to leave it how it is. And then we'll just watch back later on. Like, he needed to draw his card, and he did forget. So, this is why I let him decide to choose what he wants to do here. In any case, the 7-cost Mom is going to be a saving grace in this matchup, because I've realized that each and every time we've popped the Soul Focus here, he typically likes to heal me, right? We have a ridiculous amount of life. Unfortunately, we're a few turns late of drawing into the 7 Mom here, of getting big bodies on board. This is the first big body we've seen all game, which really sucks, because now that we have it, we can kind of pressure life a little bit more, but unfortunately he has a full board in which he can just crack back and kill the Big Mom, which that's not something we really want to do here. There's a Sobbles in life. Any other Luffy variant, that would be pretty impactful. And this one, not so much. We're typically bouncing back the 5-cost Nami. He also runs the 3-cost Doflamingo over there in the trash. I actually really like that tech. That's really good. Let's see if he decides to take this hit here. He does. Okay, cool. So we get the draw here. I believe that was a pudding. I didn't notice it during the game, only, just now, so there's that. Yep. Okay, so now he's going to do this correctly this time. He draws the Sanji with leader skill. This probably means he's going to play something else, like another Big Mom here to heal me up again, which would kind of suck. Okay, no. He's going to give me the Sobbles. We're going to bounce back Sanji. It's a joke, boys. It's a joke. He thought I was serious during game 2. It happens. That's why you should always read cards. Alright? Always read the cards. Now, remember, he got the pudding off life last turn. So this kind of sucks because we have the kid on top, right? And being able to drop kid in this matchup is just really good for us because it burns life for free, and then we have a much higher chance of ending the game. Because we do have a Lin on board, we have used this kid for the following turn just to swing heavy, and then he has to get rid of hand to make sure he can be alright. But in this situation, we get the kid, and then we know he has the pudding. There's not much else that I can do. I can't stop it. We kind of just play into it because I can't really get out of it, right? I could dump my hand for it, but it's not really a point. Now, hopefully we can get another kid out of this. Or a Big Mom. Hit me with a 3-cut, man. That's crazy. Alright. It can't get any worse, can it? Alright, so he's already swung with Big Mom and Sanji here. God threads the Katakuri. So there goes our blocker. Another 9k to face, in which we're going to have to take here. I feel like every time I get Kikinojo, it's never off life. 0 cost event. We'll pitch this for leader skill. That's the block out from their leader swing. We get another 0 cost event. So we'll drop Big Mom here. We'll heal another life. Because he doesn't want to go to 0, of course. And then we don't have any other options here. I want to save the Hiyori a little bit if I'm able to play around with a 0 cost event and the Amaru. Perhaps that allow us to sustain in life and at least get off enough damage to win the game here. He does have 1 Dawn. So I have to be a little bit mindful of what we do. I don't want to swing with the Big Moms because it'll just crack back and kill them. So I'm going to work on getting cards out of hand here with our leader swing. He did give us a gear second, or a second gear. We don't get the draw here as well, because he did counter that out. And that's our turn. He wanted us to swing at the Moms. Alright. I forget what he gets here. Okay, another giant. I think that's the second one in hand, or the first one. I forgot. I thought I saw one earlier. Yep. Here comes the beatdown. Katakuri. 6. We'll pitch. We'll toss the Katakuri here. So now we're 7. Go to 9. Another Hiyori. It's getting brutal, boys. Nojiko. There's a Katakuri blocker. And this is when I wish we had the Red Rock. Just for moments like these. Because perhaps if we had the Red Rock, this matchup could have been a little bit, better in our favor here. But I think he would have already putting us, right? He would putting us earlier, and then we would have lost our Red Rock at that time anyway. But we could have possibly drew into another one prior to the put. I don't know. Alright, let's go ahead and think here. Because in this situation, I want to be swinging. I know he has the giant, right? I know he's not going to allow us to put him to 0 life here. But if we drop another Soul Focus on board, he probably is going to heal us, right? He's not going to go to 0. Which is good. It puts us back to 3. There's not really much else we can play down from hand that's going to get us value. We do need to keep up at least 1 Dawn for the Slave Arrow, but we have to play a Hiyori on board in order to utilize that. Because I don't want to bounce back a Big Mom, right? Now, if we play down a Hiyori now, we can take the Katakuri and then we can put a double 0 cost, right? We'd spend 4 Dawn, put double 0 cost in life. At least one of them will trigger. Or we can play down a Hiyori here and then put the Amaru in life. Then we have to pitch 2 cards from hand. And I kind of think that's probably what we're going to do. So it took me a while to figure it out. We just have to survive. And I don't necessarily know if this is the correct play, because it's probably not, but we're going to try it. I'd want to go 10k here to face and force out some cards. I know he has Giant in hand in the 2k Sanji. Outside of that, I'm not sure what else he has right now. No other blockers other than Katakuri. So going 10 here forces the Giant to put him to 10 to give me another 1k. Or he takes the hit. I was hoping he wouldn't take the hit and give me cards, because we have 8 cards in hand. That way now we don't get the draw for Nami effect. So if I had known, obviously, we would have played down the Hiyori here first and then swung. But I don't necessarily think it matters all too much. Because now we can't even utilize Soul Focus, so. Which I think we could have been at 3 life. With Soul Focus. Then play down the Hiyori to put other things in life like the Amaru there. And now we're going to do that here, which I think is a little bit too late. We'll put the Amaru here. And then we can go huge with the Big Mom again and force the blocker out. Well, not necessarily huge, because we need to leave up some Dawn. So we'll go 10, and then we'll go 9 here. Or 8, Mass Hard. Yep. Here's the giant. Trash's Gravity Blade. So he's a 10k here. And we'll go 10 with Big Mom. And we're going to leave up the 1 Dawn, the bounce back the Hiyori to hand. So he guards out with Katakuri, gives me the 2k and a Mr. Bon Clay, which is unfortunate. We have 7 in hand. We could have drawn an extra card if we had played the Hiyori thing first, but I didn't expect him to go to 0 life. You know, I expected him to guard out. So if that was the case, we could have dropped down the Soul Focus, like I mentioned, to go up to 3, and then did the Hiyori stuff. We can at least survive this turn. Because if he goes for face here, we have the counter in hand and an extra life with the Amaru. Unfortunately, I don't want him to make the wrong play. So, we do communicate. This game right here actually is really, really good, because you can hear us talking quite a bit. And by this point, a lot of other people have already like dropped and or left, so it is a little bit quieter here. It's just one of those scenarios. Another 9. We do have to guard here, so we'll give you a 0 cost event and a Nojiko. And we use the Soul Focus already to go to 7. Now remember, I have to leave 2 cards in hand here for the Amaru. But I do want to keep my Big Moms on board. I at least need to have one of them. Or sorry, I need to at least have both of them to be able to get over the Katakuri blocker. Unless we draw Red Rock in the following turn, which I don't believe we do, if I recall. Because now he has to figure out what's his best move here. Going for game or going for bodies. In which we've already guarded both 9k swings. So I think we're doing pretty good. It's just the matter of how many giants he had in hand during this turn. Plus the AK blocker, right? And unfortunately, he decides to don up to swing into the Big Moms here. Which is what he wants to do. Like, technically is what he needs to do here. He doesn't necessarily have to go for game. And if he can safely remove both big bodies and have the giant up for my leader swing, I think he'd be fine anyway. Because he does have the other blocker on board. What was in here? Yeah, so we played them all, didn't we? I think we played 3 Soul Focuses, right? So we healed 3 times, plus the 2 from the 7-drop Moms. So we healed 5 life. So in total, we had 9 life this game. But unfortunately, we did not see the big bodies until later as well. I think Big Mom was 2 turns late, if I recall. So he's going to go 10k into the Mom. We will guard out of this and force him to do so with Katakuri. I guess it really doesn't matter because he can restand it, right? But he's just going to go 8. Okay, so I can deal with that. Because that means he cannot go lethal this game, or sorry, this turn, unless he dons up Pudding heavily and leader to swing. And that still just puts us to 0 life. So 1 Mom is gone. Removes that, plays blocker down, draws 3, and then puts 2 back on top or bot. Alright, so those go to the bottom of the deck. And he still has 1 Dawn open for the giant. So, he's looking pretty good with double blocker up because he gets to restand the Big Mom and the Katakuri here. So we did get the Zeus, which this will allow us to at least attempt to go for game. We needed to see Nojiko here or the Zeus, so we'll pop that. I just wanted to double check. Okay, so I can take top or bot here. So we're going to take the bottom life just so we can leave the Amaru, right? And now we'll attempt to go for game. He's making sure I draw a card. I forgot to draw the card off the Nami ability. What was that? Okay, we get Salbles. Unfortunate. Realistically, we can only go 10-10. Because we have to go 10 for the Giant. Which kind of sucks. Because we still have the Katakuri on board that we have to deal with. And I just noticed something here too, because we go 11 with Big Mom. So he pitches the Nami, and he does a Giant and a Bond Clay to get out of that. Unfortunate. It was a pretty good game though, man. Overall, I think we did really well with what we had. We got 9 life this time around, and the Amaru here. I think we were doing really, really good. I just think we needed to see the big moms a little bit earlier to combat board or pressure life here, because we did see the moms a little bit later into the game, or just big bodies in general. But we'll go ahead and dive back into the deck list here real quick, and I'll end you guys off on this one. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the end of the video, in which today we played around with Nami into Blue Purple Luffy. I do hope you guys enjoyed that one. This was probably the hardest matchup all day. Like, after making my misplay against the Zoro matchup, so you kind of get a little bit like, wow, man, I can't believe I did that. You know, you get a little tilted a little bit, because there's certain things in which you should know better. You know, when you make certain plays and mistakes and what have you, I don't like to take them back. If I make even if it's a local game, it's just, I made the mistake, let me keep it, it's fine. But you learn from it. And in this matchup particularly, I feel like this deck itself is really, really good. Just Nami in general is really, really good. But she has some hard matchups in the format. And I do think Luffy, this one is probably one of her toughest ones to get over. Just with all of the big bodies he's able to put on board, it's very hard for her to deal with. Not only that, you have to calculate for Gum Gum Giant. And I think a lot of people don't do that. And this is where that stigma with Gum Gum Giant becomes a problem, right? Not that I'm saying it is a problem. It's just people complain about the card being so good because they go to swing for game, or they just go to swing and Luffy plays Giant and they feel it's unfair. You got to calculate for these things, and Luffy does have access to the card, along with being a 6k leader and being able to spread out wide on big bodies. So Nami, on the other hand, we do have access to a bunch of cards to get around this. And that being Pudding, of course, right? That's one of them. And then we also have other options such as, I don't know how that happened, but other options such as the 6-drop mob. And again, in my new list, is going to be completely different, in which you guys are going to see what I've cooked up with to deal with this Luffy variant. But Big Mom here is a detrimental card in that matchup. Not only for Snakeman, but every Luffy variant out there right now. Purple Black, Blue Purple, right? And then you have Green Purple. They all utilize Gum Gum Giant. Being able to pitch one from our hand and then trash a life, in which we already have access to doing that with things like Eustace Kid and the 6-drop Nico Robin. Most of the time, if you're going 6k each and every turn, Luffy's are pitching 2k counters, right? 9 out of 10. If you're going 7k, they're pitching 2k counters. So it's kind of irrelevant to go 7, going 6. It just seems a little bit better mathematically. In any case, they either trash a life or pitch 2 cards in hand. If they pitch 2 cards in hand, that's less cards that they have access to for Gum Gum Giant, which is really good. Somebody also recommended me trying out Gion, which is something that we can fit into this deck. We do have the space for it. Only thing we have to have is one of these on board. So the moment your opponent drops that Gum Gum Giant, they have to bottom deck a card in their hand before utilizing the whole effect, which is really, really good. This also minuses cards and gives us more advantage. So there's a lot of ways that you can play around into the matchup, but I do think you have to be swinging with 6k each and every turn with Nami, like I was doing in our game. This does help you get cards out of hand in that matchup and make it a little bit harder for Luffy to deal with you. But of course, You need to see particular cards in the matchup to secure it. And that's like any other deck out there, right? But more so this one. Outside of that, I do think we played really well today. I had a lot of fun with this leader, let alone this deck list. But the new one will be coming very, very soon here to the channel. You guys will be seeing it as well this weekend. So stay tuned for that one, and I will catch you guys in the very next video. Stay safe out there. I'll see y'all later.